At the center of Nurgle's domain within the realm of chaos, there lies a vast lagoon. As with all things touched by the Plague Lord, it is a foul place. Thick globs of pus and excrement choke the shorelines, and the water is thick with diseased fluid. Despite the grotesque nature of the lagoon, all manner of demonic flora and fauna thrive in its noxious embrace. The waters churn with perverse life, and the air is filled with the howls and calls of diseased monstrosities. While many creatures dwell within the lagoon, one of its most common inhabitants is the disgusting plague toad of Nurgle. Plague toads, also known as rot eaters and sewerkin, are lesser demons in the service of Nurgle. Where they come from isn't exactly clear, as they possess two competing origin stories. One possibility is that they are Nurglings, who feast and wallow too eagerly in the worst kinds of filth. When they consume a critical mass of this disgusting matter, the miniature demons will mutate, their bodies swelling and twisting until a new plague toad is born. The second hypothesis is that plague toads were once plague bearers who failed to keep Nurgle's tally properly. The Plague Lord demoted the demons for their failure, removing most of their intelligence and giving them an even more loathsome appearance to while away the rest of eternity. None can say for certain which of these origin stories, if either, is the correct one. As the name suggests, plague toads take the form of large, diseased toads covered in oozing sores. A slimy horn protrudes from the demon's forehead, a sure indicator that they are afflicted by Nurgle's rot. This further supports the claim that plague toads were once plague bearers, as all of those foul demons are afflicted by this disease as well. Beneath their horn is a single eye and a gaping, ravenous maw. A plague toad's mouth can extend to horrifying proportions, letting them swallow man-sized prey whole. If an opponent is too far away to grab with their usual bounding leap, the beast possesses a long, sticky tongue that it can use to drag distant enemies into its waiting jaws. Even if their potential victim avoids being swallowed whole, the diseases infesting the rot eater's mouth can quickly overwhelm and kill even the hardiest of creatures. Despite their extremely dangerous natural armaments, plague toads are seen as little better than semi-sentient vermin by their fellow demons, and are treated accordingly. Even Nurgle will abuse the wretched creatures. When the great game between the dark gods goes poorly for the Lord of Pestilence, he will head to the lagoon and squash plague toads by the shore. This act cheers up Grandfather Nurgle immensely. The patterns of black bile the toads leave behind when squished soothes the plague god, returning him to his jovial mood. Plague toads also make a distinctive, damp squelching sound when flattened underfoot that always puts a smile on Nurgle's face. Unfortunately, this can be heard from miles around, and other plague toads are acutely aware that such a sound means danger. The normally lethargic beasts are suddenly spurred to action, seeking bolt holes with an unheard of haste. This makes finding subsequent toads much harder for Nurgle. Because of this mistreatment, it should come as no surprise then that plague toads are always eager to escape the realm of chaos and their fellow demons. Many do, slipping through the cracks in reality to inhabit the sewers, swamps, and other foul bodies of water in the mortal realm. There they live a happy life. The toads spend their days feasting upon filth and uncorrupted flesh with equal glee, yet they are never truly free of their creator's control. Spellcasters skilled in the lore of Nurgle can bind the beasts to their will, and the creatures will follow armies carrying the Plague Lord's blessing like a cloud of amphibious flies. Their thundering croaks are often the first sign that Nurgle's armies are drawing near. On occasion, plague bearers will capture plague toads and ride them into battle. Known as Pox Riders of Nurgle, these warriors are surprisingly efficient shock troops. They act as the vanguard of Nurgle's armies, crashing into enemy lines and softening them up for a follow-up attack. Even the sturdiest of shield walls can succumb to a well-timed hopping charge from these ravenous brutes. The plague toads, for their part, don't particularly enjoy having a plague bearer latched onto their back, but they have little choice in the matter. In Total War Warhammer, plague toads are a demonic unit on the Nurgle faction roster. They're an anti-infantry war beast with predominantly armor-piercing weapon damage, though their base weapon strength is almost equal to their armor-piercing value, so the tooltip's a little misleading. All in all, they're fairly hardy, with a good hit point pool, a fairly high armor value for a demonic unit, and 20% physical resistance. Plague toads also have poison attacks, reducing the damage and speed of any unit they engage. Their only real Achilles heel is their relatively low melee defense of 24 and slow speed, though the former is compensated for by the Cloud of Flies special ability, giving them more melee defense in melee combat. They also have a mediocre charge bonus for a non-infantry unit, making them more well suited for sustained combat than cycle charging. This makes them excellent roguelike units, though they can punch above their weight when confronted with heavy infantry. In a vacuum, even Chaos Warriors will eventually succumb to their leaping attacks. Pox Riders are also present in game, but everything said about the Plague Toads applies equally well to the Pox Riders. They're simply better at doing what a Plague Toad already does for nearly twice the cost, at least in multiplayer. That brings us to the end of our overview of Plague Toads, and by extension Pox Riders as well. Enjoy the 2-for-1 action, everybody. If you liked watching, leave a like and a comment down below. I respond well to positive feedback like almost all humans do and focus my efforts on stuff that does well. If you thought this was really fun, you should consider subscribing to the channel to see more stuff like it in the future. I do put out videos on a fairly consistent basis, and as we approach the 1K subscriber milestone, I might have some announcements for all of you. Until then though, this has been Sigmar's Chosen, signing off for now.